Welcome, Diana. Thanks for being on my show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so I'm going to turn on the 5-minute clock and go ahead and pretend I'm your prospect and that you're doing an elevator pitch at a networking meeting to me.
Well, good afternoon, Chala. It's so great to have met you. And
Thank
I wanted to tell you a little bit about my business and how I help my clients. And I work with employers throughout the United States. And my goal in working with them and their objective is to reduce and control their workers' compensation costs. So that's what we bring to our clients every day. And most importantly, we do bring to them peace of mind that somebody else is taking care of a very technical process that takes them away from what they do every day.
All right. So that's it, right? That's it.
That is it.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I love quite a few things about it, and I have no idea if I've ever asked for your permission to polish it, but I'm going to ask for your permission to polish your pitch now. Do I have it?
Yes, you do, and I would welcome your coaching on this. Thank you.
Thank you. So I love the fact that you're talking about pain. I love the fact that you're taking work off their hands. I love the fact that it's technical for them. I love the fact that your pitch is mostly made up of talking about their problem. I would love to sharpen it by giving it dimension and maybe taking it a little bit out of the cost saving, because the thing that I'm very worried about positioning companies on cost saving, because one, everybody says the same thing, and two, it's not ownable, defensible, because as soon as somebody else comes in that has a lower cost, you don't own that anymore. And if cost is your differentiator, then you can lose it overnight, right? So do you see what I mean?
Does that also count when it's not necessarily the cost of my services, but it's the cost to them that I save them through my services? In other words, premium dollars that they otherwise would be spending that they could use for the profits. You know, it's profits that they're using. It's a bottom line expense. So where else could they spend that money instead of spending it in the workers' comp area?
Yeah, I understand, and I'm very familiar with a lot of clients who have that advantage, but we change their positioning because it's not as differentiated as many others that we've created. And the reason for that is truly any new vendor will tell a buyer of any department that they can save them money. So that's the problem, you see, and 86% of buyers can't tell the difference between two suppliers. So are there other competitors, Diana, that you have that do what you do?
There are other competitors, not too many in this area, quite honestly.
Good. Well, that's good. I mean, that's great. The ideal is if you can be the Swiffer of what we call the Swiffer of your industry or geography. So here are some of the recommendations that I'm going to make for you. One is possibly let's talk about some other pain that we solve other than cost. What is the number one issue that you solve for them other than cost?
The communication piece with the claims person who's handling the injury claim for their worker. It's really difficult to communicate with that person, first of all, in their language, if you will, because they do have their own language. And just getting their attention when you don't understand the process. So it's kind of like they can ask the first question and they can get the first answer, but they don't know what else to ask next. It's kind of like,
what is the response? Yeah, no, I get it. What does that cause? Does that cause a lengthier response or reimbursement? What does it cause?
Well, what it causes for the employer is they become very frustrated. They then lose interest in the claim because they don't feel that the claims adjuster is listening to them or understanding their concerns. So they then back off of being involved in that claim, when if they stay involved, potentially their cost of that claim could go down because of their involvement.
Okay. So what would it be like if we could dimensionalize that pain by saying, and you would have to look at the numbers to tell me, or you would have to, look at 10 cases and then say 9 out of 10 employers who have tried to handle their own claims have received, only half of what they were supposed to.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Or it took them twice as long to receive the same amount of compensation they would have. Or
right.
Dimensionalize the pain that way instead of just broad stroking by saying we save you money.
Okay.
See, like,
yeah. Just recently we had a client who we've been helping for the last couple of years. And by overseeing their claims on literally a daily basis, their experience modification factor has gone down by 20 points. And it has saved them $40,000. In fact, they just received a refund check on premiums paid over the last 3 years through the efforts that we made this year and last year for them.
So make that into your pitch. Make that kind of thing into the industry problem, which you then solve. And whatever terms that you used, make it more layman's terms for people who are like CEOs who may not deal with it directly in that. So does that make sense how you would, as soon as you open your mouth, I love the fact that you start with pain, but instead of just cost savings, go deeper into, did you know that companies, 9 out of 10 companies who try to do it on their own have experienced 10 times longer and, half the savings, whatever, or half the refunds. And then you can tell even the story if there's enough of an interest. What I love to do during, when I meet someone, like elevator pitches, is it's great if you can talk to them, which is great. Everybody's wonderful at doing an elevator pitch if they have an answer question like, oh, does that make sense for you, kind of thing. But what an elevator pitch really is when you don't have that opportunity for, like, let's say you're one to many and you're standing up, or, you're at the WeBank roundtables. So that's when what I'm doing comes in really handy. I'm sure you manage just fine asking questions and saying, is that something you're experiencing at your company, blah, blah, blah. But the polished pitch comes in when you open your mouth and they ask you for your card or a meeting. And that's what I want for you.
Okay.
Does that help?
It does. It does.
Great.
It truly does.
Wonderful. Well, our 5 minutes are way over. And I hope, well, we could stay on after we turn off the camera and nobody will know. But that's, another episode of Polish My Pitch. Thank you so much, Diana.